Hey everyone, this is, why did I do that? Hey everyone, it's Rachel over at Moonlight Library. I'm here to talk to you about the books I read in, what is this month? April? April's not quite done yet for me, but I'm on my last book of the month and I know it, so I'm going to tell you about it because I've already formed an opinion. I'm almost done. I'm going to finish it tonight, but I want to post this video by tomorrow. Boop, boop, boop. Anyways, so I've read 11 books this month and I'm going to talk to you about them. Most of them I did reading vlogs for, so you probably, if you're watching my reading vlogs, you would have heard me talk about them before, but I will reiterate. Let's start with the ones I didn't do reading vlogs for. That's how we're going to do this. Great idea. So the first book I'm going to talk to you about today is going to be, Remote Control by Nnedi Okorafor. This follows Fatima. She's in Ghana and she has been, she's basically been adopted as the daughter of death, like the angel of death. And it's this weird science fiction fantasy set in Africa. So it's really interesting, and it kind of follows her path as she is like, how do you even explain this book? It follows her path as she's dealing with, firstly, losing herself, losing her identity, losing her family and her past, but also with everyone being afraid of her, like if she touches you, you die, basically. And so she visits people when they're like on their last stretch, I guess. Like, so she's moving around a lot, but also if she touches any electronics or like anything mechanical, it dies. So no one will like let her on the bus or anything like that. It's kind of a weird book. It's very short. I listened to the audiobook in no time. And I did enjoy it, but at the same time, I don't think I fully connected with it or the characters, nor did I really have a sense of, I didn't really care too much. I ended up giving it a 3, but is that a good rating for it? I'm not sure. I think that if it was longer, it probably, sorry, my dog is like sniffing around the floor around me. Anyways, if I followed it, if it was longer, it feels like it would have had more to offer, but it was such a snippet of this kind of made up reality that I didn't feel like I fully experienced what the book's potential could have been. It's more like a novella, if anything. It was so short. I gave it 3 stars. Maybe it's like more of a 2.5 rounded to a 3, I would think. So those are my thoughts on that. The next one we're going to talk about is Take a Hint, Dani Brown. Oh, I have that. Take a Hint, Dani Brown. This was probably the best book I've read this month. Like, I am so in love with Talia Hibbert and the book she's putting out, as basically anyone is that's reading her. I feel like most people feel the same, that these are just so stunning, glowing, beautiful. Yes, it's the second one in the Brown sisters trilogy, I guess. The first one was Get a Life, Chloe Brown, which was also amazing. But I just freaking love this one. I love the relationship. I loved following Danica. Dani she's so independent, but independent almost to a fault, where she doesn't want to be with anyone because she wants to pursue her career. She wants to put all of her energy into her work. And then you have Zafir, and he's lost a lot in his life, and he's kind of coming back from like having struggling with his mental health and figuring out how to be happy again. And he's like the security guard, and she is working on her doctoral thesis or her dissertation, and she's teaching classes at this university that he's a security guard in, and She gets stuck in the elevator. He ends up saving her, or like pulling her out or whatever, and walks her out, and they get really famous online, so they decide to fake date for his charity that he has. And it's just so cute. I love it. I love reading a romance. I have not read that many contemporary romances, but I think that this is showing me that this is a genre that I do want to pick up more, and I do want to focus more on, because every time I'm reading one of these, I get so lost in the romance, and you know, you get like butterflies in your stomach. Also, it's spicy, it's hot, it's sexy, it's everything. And I love it. So if you haven't started reading these, do it. If you've only read Chloe Brown, read this one. I'm about to read, I think it's Evie Brown. Eve? Do you say Eve or Evie? I'm gonna read that one very soon, especially since it's out now. So gotta do it. The next one I'm going to talk about is the one I haven't finished. This is Memorial by Brian Washington. I only have like, I probably only have like 30 pages left. I could have read it and then walked into this room and shot this video, but I didn't. This follows Mike and Ben Benson. Mike and Ben are going through some turbulence in their relationship. They've been living together, and then Mike gets the news that his father's ill, and they're living in Houston, and Mike is his family's from Japan. So it's like his kind of absent father figure. They never had this great relationship. So he has decided that he's going to go back to Japan to be with his dad and help him. While at the same time, he has told his mom to come visit him or stay with him while his dad is like in the middle of passing away. And then his mom flies from Japan to stay there, but Mike is leaving the next day, and he's leaving his mom with his partner Ben, who they have never met before, and they also are not extremely close. So the whole thing's very awkward, and you're following both their paths. You know, it's like I like this book and I want to like this book more than I actually did. But at the same time, I don't like the style of writing. I think it's very clunky and clipped. And yes, it does feel like the dialogue does this thing where it'll be like he said this, I said this. He said this, I said this. That's normal. But this one, firstly, no quotation marks. It's like, he said blah, blah, blah. I said blah, blah, blah. I said blah, blah, blah. And it's like, why are you putting those on different lines? I get it's for stress, but I just don't agree. Like, it throws me out of the moment. And a lot of things will be happening that just like, you're like, wait, how did we jump here? And it's jumping around in time a lot. And I don't know, like, it's interesting, but at the same time, I don't know if I'm completely in love with it. Also, I kind of haven't connected with any of the characters. I don't really care about the relationship. Like, I don't want them to be together. It's kind of like Normal People. If you didn't like Normal People, I don't think you'd like this. It reminds me of that, but I love Normal People. So it's just kind of the same, like, kind of just like drifting through a story where nothing really matters, sort of thing. I don't know. I've heard people like it. I've heard people not like it. I'm in the boat of giving it, like, I'm feeling a 2 or a 3 here. Like, I'm still deciding. I'm not, like, 100% on this. Okay, the next book I'm going to tell you about is Dry by Neal Shusterman. Dry follows boop-de-doop. Let's open it because I don't remember. No. You pressed the wrong button. How dare you press the wrong button? Okay, so it's set in California, and there is a drought. It's the tap out. All the taps go, whoop, done. And there's no water coming out of them. And so everyone's kind of like, scared. and we're following multiple teenagers as, like, this one set of teenagers, Alyssa is the main character and her little brother. Their parents have gone to try and get government regulated water, but they don't come home. And so they and their neighbor, who is like his family is like total preppers. So they have water, they have everything. They end up like kind of going on this mission together, and it's this grandiose thing where they're like meeting new people, and it's kind of scary, but it's also weird, and you're like, what's going on? And it's, the adventure is so high and so crazy, and they're great characters in all of the sections because it's a frame narrative, so each person kind of gets a section, unless you're the little brother who's completely just, nope, not him. But and it just whittles them down. The whole story just whittles them down and whittles away like all of their hope. And I thought it was so good. But each of the frames, every character had their own personality, their own story, their own like way of, like, the narration was completely different. And I adored it. I gave it 5 stars. Wonderful book. God, that ending. Whew. It was like after I finished it, I could finally breathe again. Also, throughout the whole thing, I'd have water next to me, but I would feel thirsty. Like, I was like, I need a drink of water. Oh my God. You know, and I'm like guzzling water and being like, I'm so thankful, but I'm still parched from this story. Next up is These Violent Delights by Chloe Gong. Whoa. Okay, so 1920s, Shanghai, gangs, monsters, fantasy. It's got everything. There's a virus going around and it's causing people to tear their own necks out, and it's Romeo and Juliet retelling as well, and they're trying to solve a mystery. Like, there's so many things going on in this story that I was just so excited throughout the whole thing. Also, it's like you kind of think you know what's going on, and then it kind of flips you. And I'm excited to see where it goes after this first novel, because I had a good time with the characters. Like, they're like all deceiving each other, and you're getting it from like, they're kind of multiple points of view. We're primarily following Juliet though. And I liked how they gave us the backstory, and it's like we weren't in the usual Romeo and Juliet retelling where you're like, I know what's gonna happen, I know how it's gonna end, because no. You know what? This is a series. So no, I mean, maybe it will in the end of the series. So now we're just waiting for that. And I'm wondering. Can't wait to find out. I'll read the next one. I feel like since I've been reading more young adult books, they're more series, and I haven't been reading series in a long time. Like, I did read Dani Brown, and I think I want more series in my life. Yeah. So the next book we're going to talk about is The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. So this book follows Star. She witnesses the shooting of her childhood best friend Khalil at the hands of a police officer, and it is very relevant to today. I swear to God, I cried throughout the entire book. It was probably one of the best books I read this month. Oh gosh. Well, now it's up between Dani Brown and The Hate You Give. That's difficult. Anyways, so I really like how Angie Thomas, like, Star was 2 different people, in a sense that she kind of split her personality between her neighborhood, like her childhood neighborhood, and it's predominantly Black, and then her school, which was, I mean, pretty much completely white as well. And she even said within it that she speaks differently and stuff like that when she goes into school, and you see that through the dialogue she has with these people, and how she kind of hides part of herself from even her boyfriend and her friends. and it has such a good dialogue on race, racism, like subtle racism, just really amazing, and police brutality, talking about that. And in the state we are in now, where a lot of things are happening with police brutality, and it's always been an issue, but it's like really on the surface. It's a wonderful book to pick up. If you haven't read it, this is your chance. Like, go read it, because I always wanted to read it. I'd never read an Angie Thomas, and I was so happy that I finally picked this book up, because now I'm like, I need to read Concrete Rose. Like, I need to do it. It's so good. Like, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about this book. Like, I'm just like, oh, so good. So good. Next up is The Black Flamingo. That's by Dean Atta. And The Black Flamingo is a prose or poetry prose book, and it follows Mike, as he goes from the point where he's a baby up until he's like about 20 or so, like 19 or 20, and he's entering school. Michael is gay, he's also Black, and he's Greek Cypriot, and he's kind of figuring out his identity and his like culture, because he doesn't feel like he fits any mold, but then he kind of figures out his own mold, you know? And the story's beautiful. It's another one of like finding your voice and finding the way to speak your truth. But at the same time, I think it was a little lacking on some of like me being invested in the characters or him. I was wanting a little more. It was sad at points, but it never like got me to that level of being like, oh my god, like, yeah. I did like the poetry in it. It was really good. And there's like the scene at the end where Michael's part of it is about drag and stuff, and I can't even say it. I can't say it. It's so good. Like, also some of the conversations inside of this book were amazing. It made such good points if you want to learn about what I read about. I talk about more about this book in my vlog, so check that out. The next one, it's not the last one, but it is the next one, is going to be another prose book, poetic prose. Yes, Kwame Alexander's Booked, which, hello there, has a really cool underneath cover. Look at that. That's really neat. So, Booked follows Nick Hall as he's 12, he's a soccer player, and something goes awry in his family that like he wasn't expecting. It's not something he realized he was going to have to deal with, and he's learning to kind of navigate his new life in a way. It's like a bombshell, as they say, bombshell announcement. I've said that on this channel like 450 times because I keep bringing up this book. What is going on with me? Anyways, it's really cool. I like how some of, like, you get some erasure poetry in it, where this is like from the Three Musketeers, and then you also get some vocabulary, which he gives his own definition to things, which is interesting because his dad wrote a dictionary, and he has like a very high vocabulary, and part of it is him learning different words and reading this dictionary his dad wrote. And then the other part is like he's in a book club, and it's really good. He is dealing with bullying and stuff like that, and a lot of hard things are going on with him, but he kind of figures out himself. I gave it a 4 because the ending was just kind of like, well, that happened, and you're like, what? Like, you didn't give me an ending. I didn't feel like there was an ending, and there was this other piece that was happening in here that I was like, I didn't realize that was important, and then I can't even explain it. But I did really enjoy Nick Hall. I thought he was great. Next book. Wow, I feel like I read so many books this month. Wow. Next book is Truly Devious. That's by Maureen Johnson. I freaking love this book. I loved it so much. This book takes place in the 1930s and present day, and it is in this boarding school, this kind of like elite boarding school that's also free, that was founded by this guy who is in the 1930s section, Ellingham, and it's Ellingham Academy. In the 1930s, there was this serial killer sort of person, truly devious, that has kidnapped his wife and daughter and is like holding them for ransom, and then they're trying to, it's like a never been solved mystery, which you know pretty much from the beginning. And in the present day, you're following Stevie Bell, who gets accepted into this like boarding school, and she's going to try and solve that mystery, but a lot of other things unfold. So it was so interesting. I know there are more books in this series. This is another series that I'm going to continue, and I cannot wait to find out what happened and all of the things getting thrown together. So good. I didn't exactly love the ending because it wasn't the biggest twist, you know. It wasn't really a cliffhanger to me. It just kind of like, that's the end of that book, you know, and I was like, what? But I still gave it 5 stars because I still loved it very, very much. So yes. Next up is Anna Dressed in Blood by Kendare Blake. And wow, I didn't like this book. I did not like this book. This follows Cass, and Cass is a ghost hunter. His dad died ghost hunting, and he is right now, he goes to Ontario, Canada with his mom. He's a teenager, and they move around for him to hunt ghosts, but he's also in school. And he meets some people, is going to try and kill this Anna Dressed in Blood ghost who, it's like, she's not like the other ghosts, you know, it's said it before, not like the other ghosts, you know, so cool. And it just turns his head, like he's like, what? You know, cracking on. His head has been turned. Yes. So it just, the jokes were so dumb in this book. Like, I know I have dumb jokes, but like these were the stupidest jokes. If you like this book, that's totally fine. But I just feel like this book was written about 10 years ago, and it kind of stayed there. It stayed 10 years ago. You know, it's not the type of book that you should maybe pick up now and read. Maybe you'd like it. I don't know. I don't think it was for me. I think maybe I'm a little too old for it, and maybe the book's a little too old for me. I'm not saying old books are bad. I'm saying some books should be left. Some books should be left in the past. You know, I'm not going picking up Click or something. Like, come on. No. Just, it's not happening. Thank you. I gave it 2 stars. It was just like, ugh, I don't know. I didn't like it. That's fine. Okay. Last book. That's Moxie, and that's by Jennifer Mathieu. Wow, I never looked up how to pronounce her name. And I never will. So, what's wrong with me? So, Moxie follows Viv Carter as she is learning about how to be a feminist and why that matters. She's learning about like toxic masculinity and the patriarchy and fuck the man. And her mother was a riot girl in the 90s, and she's kind of like making her own path and kind of taking inspo from those riot girls. You know, she's like, rebel girl, da-na-na-na-na-na-na, my world, rebel girl. So that's how she feels. But there's like zines, and there's a lot of important dialogue in this. I think I like the movie more because I think it made more points other than just feminism, which I shouldn't say just feminism because, get it, I'm a feminist. I really am. But at the same time, I feel like the movie really drove home more messages and was just like, it was like punching you in the face with knowledge. And you're like, oh my God, that's so good. And I hope that all the teenage girls are watching this, and boys, and non-binary people. I think everyone should watch it. Really good book, though. I gave it a 4 because I was comparing it, because I'm a rude person that compares books, and that's just who I am, and you can't stop me from what I want to do. They also have the actual zines in here, which is real neat, and I love that. I love that for this. Thought it was beautiful. I have to write a paper on this tonight, comparing it to the movie. So that's something I'm going to do. That's my last assignment of the semester. And then I start summer semester in like 2 weeks. So, you know, you get almost no time off. How wonderful. I love it. I love it. Wish it was 3 weeks. Maybe it is 3 weeks. You know, I don't actually look these things up because, yeah, whoopsies. Maybe it is 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks. I should stop holding this. Okay, so those are my thoughts on those books. And I hope that you let me know what you think about those books, if you've read any of them, or if you have suggestions for me, because I always want suggestions. Always, always. Be sure to subscribe and like and comment. Let me know what you think. Yes, I haven't posted in a little while, so here I am again. It's been a little over a week. I've been busy. I had a busy week. And that happens. Yeah. Okay. Bye.